Same person, same city, same job. 1 year apart, and suddenly, the bank manager stands up when he walks in. The car salesman stops the hard sell. The real estate agent returns calls within the hour. He didn't get promoted, didn't win the lottery, didn't suddenly look different. He crossed a financial threshold that unlocked a completely different tier of treatment. Most people think this happens at $1 million. That's when you made it. That's when institutions take you seriously. They're wrong. The shift happens much earlier, at 4 specific numbers. I'm talking about measurable advantages, better loan terms, faster approvals, access to opportunities that aren't advertised, treatment that saves you time, stress, and money. I'm Kevin. This is Prosperity Levels. Today, breaking down 4 net worth levels where institutional treatment fundamentally changes based on banking policies, Federal Reserve data, and documented lending research. What unlocks at each level, why it unlocks, and realistic timelines based on actual savings data, not guru fantasies. The first threshold happens at a number most people never consciously recognize: $25,000 in liquid, accessible savings. Not retirement accounts you can't touch. Not your car's value. $25,000 you can actually access. According to the Federal Reserve's 2022 survey of consumer finances, the median American household has $5,300 in savings. When you hit $25,000, you've moved from the bottom half to roughly the 65th percentile. You're not rich, but you're demonstrably not paycheck to paycheck anymore. Financial institutions interpret this as proof of discipline. You can accumulate capital and resist spending it. That changes how they categorize you in their systems. Most major banks, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, have relationship banking tiers that start between $20,000 and $30,000 in combined deposits. At this level, you qualify for fee waivers, dedicated customer service lines, and preferential consideration for loans. When you can casually reference having $25,000 in savings during a financial conversation with a landlord, lender, or business partner, the entire dynamic shifts. You're not someone they need to worry about. You've demonstrated capital discipline, and they negotiate differently with you because of it. First, you can negotiate lease terms from strength. Offering 2 months upfront in exchange for reduced monthly rent or waived deposits becomes a real option that actually saves you money. Second, personal loan rates improve substantially. Even with identical credit scores, someone with $25,000 in verified savings typically qualifies for rates 3–5 percentage points lower than someone with under $5,000, according to LendingTree's 2023 data. Third, you can take calculated career risks without desperation. A job requiring relocation, a certification costing $3,000, a side business needing startup capital, these become strategic moves instead of financial emergencies. One of my clients, Marcus, hit $25,000 in savings after 2 years of aggressive budgeting. Within 6 months, he used it to negotiate a lease on a duplex, living in one unit and renting the other. His savings gave him negotiating leverage. The landlord respected he got first month free because he could prove financial stability. That's $1,400 he didn't spend, purely because he had the cash position to negotiate. Saving $1,000 per month from a standing start, you hit $25,000 in just over 2 years. Saving $1,500 monthly, you're there in 17 months. This isn't a decade-long journey. For anyone earning above median household income, which was $74,580 in 2022, this is achievable within 2 to 3 years with disciplined execution. $25,000 gets you credibility. The next threshold converts that credibility into actual leverage, and most personal finance content completely ignores this number. $75,000 in net worth assets minus liabilities. This can include retirement accounts, home equity if you own, investment accounts, and savings minus any debt. $75,000 in net worth puts you above the median American household. According to the Fed's latest data, median household net worth is approximately $192,000, but that includes people in their 60s and 72nd. For households under 35, median net worth is only $39,000. At $75,000, you're legitimately ahead of the curve for your age cohort. When you apply for a mortgage, business loan, or significant line of credit, your net worth statement enters the conversation. Below $75,000, you're evaluated almost exclusively on income and credit score. At $75,000 and above, you're someone with demonstrated capital accumulation, a balance sheet that suggests stability. That affects three things: approval probability, interest rates, and processing speed. You're a lower risk borrower with collateral and a track record, so underwriting gets easier. You're not at accredited investor status yet, but you're serious enough that private investment sponsors will take your calls. Many real estate syndications, private notes, and alternative investments have emerging investor tracks for people between $50,000 and $200,000 in net worth. This is your entry point to returns beyond index funds. Below $75,000, most wealth management firms assign you to junior advisors or automated platforms with templated strategies. At $75,000, senior advisors start taking meetings. Planning becomes customized instead of generic. You're worth the firm's time now. If you're self-employed or running a business, $75,000 in net worth changes how vendors and partners perceive you. You can negotiate better payment terms, larger contracts, and equity participation in ways that someone with zero capital simply cannot. Financial credibility creates opportunities that talent alone doesn't. From $25,000 to $75K, that's $50,000 to build. Saving and investing $1,500 monthly at a conservative 7% average annual return. You're there in about 2.5 additional years. From $0 to $75,000 saving the same amount? Roughly 4 years total. Important caveat: this assumes consistent market returns and no major life disruptions. Real life is messier, so build in buffer time. If you're currently carrying high interest debt anything above 7-8, you'll build net worth faster by eliminating that first, before aggressively investing. A $15,000 credit card balance at 22% APR is costing you $3,300 per year. That's a guaranteed 22% return on paying it off. No investment beats that risk-adjusted. 75,000 changes one-on-one transactions. The next threshold changes institutional access entirely, and it's the most underappreciated number in personal finance. $250,000 in net worth. This is where the shift stops being subtle. It becomes obvious, even to you, that you're being treated differently. $250,000 puts you in roughly the top 25% of American households by net worth. You're not just above average anymore, you're significantly above average. And financial institutions have entire service infrastructures built for this tier. Most major banks offer private banking starting between $250,000 and $500,000 in deposits or assets under management. This isn't just a nicer branch. It's a different system: dedicated banker, direct phone line, waived fees across all accounts, priority loan underwriting, and access to investment products unavailable to retail customers. You're not an accredited investor yet, we'll get to that at the next threshold, but you're close enough that platforms start warming you. Many private investment firms create emerging investor tracks specifically for people in the to 50K, 500K range. This is your on-ramp to private markets. In real estate, $250,000 in net worth is transformational. If $100,000 of that is liquid, you can put 20% down on a $400,000 property and still maintain reserves. That reserve cushion separates you from stretched buyers and sellers, and agents know the difference. You start getting first look at off-market deals and calls when motivated sellers emerge. Real estate agents prioritize buyers they know can close, and you've demonstrated that capacity. Your net worth affects insurance premiums in ways most people never realize. High net worth insurance products, which typically start around $250K, bundle home, auto, and umbrella coverage at rates 10-20 lower than standard policies, according to industry data from Chubb and AIG. People with significant assets are statistically lower risk. They have more to lose, so they behave more conservatively. Insurers price for that, and the savings compound over decades. $250,000 gives W-2 employees something rare: the ability to walk away. If you have 2 to 3 years of expenses saved and invested, you can negotiate salary, title, equity, and working conditions from a position most employees never reach. You can say no to offers that don't serve you. And the ability to say no is the most powerful negotiating tool that exists. Employers can sense it, even if you never explicitly mention your net worth. Want to buy an existing business instead of starting from scratch? SPA loans, which offer the best terms available for business purchases, typically require 10-20 down. With $250,000 in net worth, you can put $50K, $75K down on a business generating $10K, $15K monthly profit and finance the rest. You can't do this at $25,000. Can't do it at $75,000. You can absolutely do it here. The most important change at $250,000 isn't financial, it's psychological. Financial fragility becomes financial resilience. You stop making decisions from fear and start making them from preference. Even modest passive income changes your mental state. Half your net worth invested in dividend-producing assets at a 3.5% yield generates about $4,400 annually. That's not retirement income, but it's a weekend trip every quarter you didn't have to budget for, a car repair without stress, a medical expense that's annoying instead of catastrophic. From $75,000 to $250,000 requires building another $175,000. Saving and investing $2,000 monthly at 7% average return. About 6 years. From $0 to $250,000 at the same rate. Roughly 8.5 years total. Here's the trap people fall into at this level. They start performing wealth instead of building it. Car upgrade, house upgrade, vacation upgrade, all of which reset the clock and drain the capital that was just starting to compound meaningfully. $250,000 is not the finish line where you celebrate by spending. It's the launchpad where you accelerate by reinvesting. People who understand that reach the next level. People who don't stay here forever comfortable, but never actually wealthy. $250,000 is where you earn consistent respect and access. But there's one more level where treatment becomes automatic and legally protected. Doors unlock. $1 million in net worth. The number everyone talks about. The number that defines wealth in popular culture. And unlike a lot of financial mythology, this one actually lives up to the hype. $1 million in net worth places you in approximately the top 10% of American households. You're no longer upper middle class by any reasonable definition, you are wealthy. Here's the big one. $1 million in net worth excluding your primary residence, or earning $200,000 plus annually for the past 2 years, makes you an accredited investor under SEC regulations. Accredited status legally unlocks private equity, venture capital, hedge funds, real estate syndications, and early-stage startup investments. These aren't just exclusive, they're legally prohibited from being offered to non-accredited investors. You just crossed the velvet rope. Early funding rounds of Google, Amazon, Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, all only accessible to accredited investors. By the time these companies went public, the majority of wealth creation had already happened. At $1 million net worth, you get access to that room, though you'll still need the right network and deal flow to actually participate. Every major financial institution offers private wealth management at $1 million in investable assets. This is different from private banking. You get dedicated portfolio managers, estate planning services, tax optimization strategies, and access to alternative investments completely unavailable below this level. Below $1 million, retail advisors managing 100+ clients with standardized portfolios. At $1 million, Wealth advisors managing 20-30 clients with fully customized strategies. The quality gap is enormous, and it shows in long-term returns and tax efficiency. You now qualify for portfolio loans and securities-backed lines of credit at 2-4 interest rates. The loan is secured by your investment portfolio, so the bank's risk is minimal. You're a client they want to retain. This is exactly how wealthy people borrow. Cheaper than middle-class people. In real estate, $1 million changes everything. You can make all-cash offers on 300K, 400K properties. You can secure extremely favorable financing on larger deals. You become a priority buyer. Sellers will accept your offer at or even slightly below asking price over higher, uncertain offers, because certainty of close is worth more than an extra $10,000 that might fall through. You gain consistent access to off-market deals, pocket listings, and distressed properties that never hit the mills because brokers know you can close quickly. You can acquire established businesses generating 75K, 150K in annual profit using SPA financing with comfortable down payment and reserves remaining. You're not limited to micro acquisitions anymore. You can buy real, multi-employee operations and become a business owner overnight instead of grinding for 5 years. At $1 million, estate planning stops being theoretical and becomes essential. Without proper structures, trusts, beneficiary designations, tax strategies, you could lose 20-40 to estate taxes and probate depending on your state. I worked with a couple, David and Lisa, who at $1 million net worth at 41 and 39 respectively. They immediately established a revocable living trust, updated beneficiaries, and created a tax loss harvesting strategy with their advisor. Those moves will save their heirs an estimated 180K, 240K based on current estate tax laws. That's the difference between generational wealth transfer and generational wealth destruction. The most significant shift at $1 million, financial decisions stop being about survival. They become about preference. Do I want this job, this city, this project? The answer is no longer determined by necessity, it's determined by what you actually want. That is the definition of financial freedom for most people. At 7% average annual return, $1 million generates $70,000 per year without any additional contributions. That's $70,000, reinvested, compounds on itself. You're no longer building wealth primarily through earned income, you're building through capital appreciation. Your money is now working harder than you are. That's the inflection point. That's what $1 million actually means. From $250,000 to 1M, that's $750,000 to build. Saving and investing $3,000 monthly at 7% average return, approximately 13 to 14 years. From 0 to $1 million at that rate, roughly 16 to 17 years total. A strategic 15-year window starting in your late 20s or early 30s. Not easy, not fast, but absolutely achievable for dual-income households earning above median income. Important note, these timelines assume tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks and IRAs, where gains compound tax-free. In fully taxable accounts, you'll need to account for capital gains taxes that can reduce effective returns by 1-2 percentage points annually. Work with a CPA to optimize your account structure. The mistake people make here: lifestyle inflation at scale. I've earned this. I deserve the 6-figure car, the luxury vacation home, the private school tuition. People who stay at $1 million spend the $70,000 their portfolio generates annually. People who reach $5 million and $10 million reinvest it and let compounding do the heavy lifting. Income, expenses, and return on investment. Most people optimize one. Wealthy people optimize all three simultaneously. Don't wait for raises, negotiate every offer. Develop second income streams. Switch jobs every 3 to 5 years when it makes strategic sense. Internal raises average 3% according to ADP data. External job changes average 10-15 increases. You don't maximize income by staying loyal, you maximize it by staying strategic. Housing above 30% of gross income. Vehicle payments over $600,700 monthly. Subscription creep adding up to $300,500 monthly. These three destroy wealth silently and consistently. Cut subscriptions you don't actively use. Drive your car to 3 years longer than you want to. Live in a smaller place than you can technically afford. Boring? Absolutely. Effective? The data is irrefutable. 2% in a savings account versus 7% in low-cost index funds is the difference between reaching $1 million in 25 years versus 16 years. 7% versus 10% through intelligent asset allocation factoring in alternatives once you qualify is 16 years versus 12 years. Phase 1. 0 to 25K pure high-yield savings. No market risk. Build the foundation. Phase 2. $25,000 to $75K begin broad index investing. Learn the mechanics. Stay diversified. Phase 3. $75,000 to $250K add calculated alternatives. Optimize tax strategy. Increase contribution rate. Phase 4. $250,000 to 1 maximum intelligent aggression. Bridge private investments. Compound relentlessly. That's the complete execution framework. Income up, expenses down, returns optimized, 4 phases mapped out. Now, you have the knowledge. The question is, will you actually use it? 25,000 credibility, 75,000 leverage, 250,000 access, 1 million freedom. None of this happens because you're smarter or better than anyone else. It happens because you demonstrated proof. Proof of discipline, proof of capital accumulation, proof of financial stability. That's what institutions respond to. Calculate your net worth today, not an estimate, the actual number. Assets minus liabilities, retirement accounts, investment accounts, savings, home equity, if you own, minus all debt. Which threshold are you building toward? What's the monthly savings and investment amount required to reach it in your target timeframe? Reverse engineer the number, then build the system to hit it consistently. Drop a comment. Where are you right now? Below $25,000? Between thresholds? Above $250,000? What's your biggest obstacle to reaching the next level? I respond to comments regularly, and this community has genuinely helpful insights. Next week, 5 purchases that destroy wealth even when you think you can afford them. Number 3 costs the average person $200K, $300K over a decade, and most people never realize it. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. The exact moment financial institutions start treating you differently is not at $1 million. It starts at $25,000, deepens at $75,000. Becomes leverage at $250,000, becomes freedom at $1 million. Every single threshold is reachable. Not easy, not fast, not without sacrifice, but reachable. Nobody's coming to give you permission to start. You already have everything you need. Go build. I'm Kevin. This is Prosperity Levels. We document how wealth actually builds one threshold at a time. The thresholds are real. The access is real. The timelines are real. Go earn all of it.